Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new live episode of Spill the Tequila here on the John Rocha channel. I am John Rocha, joined as always by the man himself, King of Swag, Winston A. Marshall. How are you, Winston?
I mean, Rocha, I can't describe the feeling of waking up to the virtually the best possible news you could get.
Yeah,
like it's hard to describe the feeling, man. It is something that I think few people will ever truly understand, but he's gone.
Yes.
Nico is gone. And my God, the jokes. I have had so many jokes over the course of the day, seen so many other Mavs fans also a lot of this, and then the people that are trying to push back and be like, y'all are stupid, like he didn't even have time, injuries. It's like, well, first of all, what was the first thing we said about this trade to get rid of Luka and to add Anthony Davis? That Anthony Davis gets hurt, and he's already had 3 major injuries since he arrived in Dallas. First it was his ab thing that he was dealing with, then he had his retina detached over the summer, and now it's his cap. Nah, bro, absolutely not. And there's no hate. There's no hate for the people on the team. That was the whole thing. Those fire Nico chants weren't about we hate you. They were about this was a stupid decision. Yeah, we ended up in this and Cooper Flag's a rookie. That was not the plan. You got lucky, and if you didn't get lucky, collusion. It was one or the other. It's either you were lucky as shit or collusion. That's pretty much how that works. So nah, man, it was a great day. The number of people being my brother didn't know about this whole thing like that. He just goes, "Hey, isn't that Dad's friend?" Because y'all know I've said this before that my dad is golf poker buddies with Nico Harrison. So that became a whole thing this summer. And I was like, "Yep." And I'm glad he's gone. And I've been trying real hard not to troll Dad all day. So yeah, man, it's been good. That's the best possible way to wake up. I can only think of one other one. I can think of 2 other ones. I can think of 2 other ways to wake up that would be glorious. Yeah. And neither are safe for work. And one of them involves my fiance. So I'm not, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna chill. We're gonna be easy.
We'll definitely dive into it more for those of you who maybe don't know about that. Nico Harrison was fired by the Dallas Mavericks, the guy who traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers, and Luka got into you divorced me shape, and he is killing it with the Lakers right now. Without LeBron, they're 8-3. Amazing stuff. But of course, the Mavericks are slowly sinking into the quagmire. So we will get into that certainly a little bit later on in the show, and some NFL stuff as well. But we got to start with some DC news. And just a reminder, the Streamlabs and Super Chats are open. It is Veterans Day. Send in your love, send in your questions, thoughts, and comments. And anybody who's celebrating Veterans Day today or just honoring people who served our country with the ultimate sacrifice, as a former military man, I respect anyone who's seen a theater of war and is either injured or passed away defending our country and our freedom. We send all our love out to the veterans who are honoring Veterans Day today, and any of the family members and friends who honor them as well. For sure.
Thank you for your service, Rocha. Appreciate you, Brody.
Well, thank you. It's very kind of you. Thanks to everyone who served in a theater of war. Much love to them as well. But we're starting off with this. So not this one. This DC stuff. Let's get into it, man. Winston, you're on Capes and Cows. I host the Geek Buddies. We talk about things of superhero nature, and apparently today they announced that the Jimmy Olsen series is a go. It's coming to us from the American Vandal guys, who, if you guys remember that docu-series, which was hilarious, from Dan Perot and Tony Yacenda. They are taking over to showrun this series, and we're getting a V for Vendetta series. Some of you remember that movie from a few years ago. No, you remember that mask if you know the Outlaw. And the V for Vendetta series is happening under James Gunn's auspices as an executive producer. He won't be show running it, but he will be EPing it. So fascinating duo of announcements here, Winston, on the DC side of things. What stands out for you? Are you excited about a Daily Planet series with Skylar Gisondo leading it as Jimmy Olsen? There probably won't be a Lois Lane, probably won't be a Clark Kent, but you get everyone else, including Wendell Pierce, Perry White there, and then a V for Vendetta series. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, dude, I love V for Vendetta. So I'm
Yeah.
here for it to like have a series of it. I'm curious. I feel like if there was ever a time
Yeah.
to talk about, revolution and standing up to authoritarian rule,
Yeah.
and hey, like by all means, I'm surprised it got greenlit at all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and especially if there is this actual push to have Paramount buy Warner,
Right.
I,
Right.
I that might be the first thing they cancel. like I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you, they might be the first thing to be like redundancies, DEI,
Yeah. Exactly.
and then it'll be gone. Um, but yeah, man, I'm here for it. I honestly, like, I'm not opposed to the Jimmy Olsen thing, but
Right.
I still stand by the fact that, like, I really, really liked Superman. I just
Yeah.
felt like it was a little overstuffed as far as characters. I don't think that there was
Right.
too many storylines, but I think you were doing a lot. Um, and so it'll be interesting to see that kind of roll out and follow that. But I'm more interested in, like, I don't know if I missed that in your breakdown. Like,
Hmm.
have they said anything more about the Mr. Terrific project they were talking about? Because
No, not at all. Nothing has been said recently about the Mr. Terrific situation at all.
I would want that infinitely more
Yes.
than a Jimmy Olsen whatever. Because like, I think that Skylar did a good job for what he was
Sure.
asked to do, but
Right.
like it was about her having ugly toes or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was a stupid gag that, like, it was more interesting to see Mr. Terrific's like behavior
Yeah.
and how he was handling situations and how much of a badass he was than to like follow Jimmy around as he, gets bitches and solves crimes. Like, I don't like, I don't know. I just okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating decision. I have to believe James had this already in his mind with the casting, because he cast pretty much almost all TV actors to play the roles in the Daily Planet, except for Skylar, who has done, of course, a number of films. So Skylar leading the way, that makes sense. As Jimmy Olsen, people love Jimmy Olsen. I imagine you're going to get Eve Tessmacher back. You'll have Cat Grant. You'll have the other people who were involved. And you might even get Michael Ian Black as the counter to the Daily Planet. That could be interesting as the right wing sort of approach to it. Could be curious to see how that goes down. And they're going to introduce, villains that they're going to throw into that place where Peacemaker is in right now. So I guess it's a way, but I guess it's fine. But this is also a situation where didn't James say you weren't going to need to watch everything to get what's going on? And here we go, a TV series that is probably going to introduce some of the villains that are going to be showing up in the theatrical universe first in the TV series. And I want to go back to your reaction to it. I've seen this from a lot of DC people online. They're not necessarily that excited to see a Jimmy Olsen Daily Planet series that is not going to have Lois Lane or Clark Kent be a part of it. So how exciting is this really going to be? And so I just wonder if they made the right decision here by playing it safe with a Jimmy Olsen series. Because just because you like Skylar Gisondo does not mean that you should build a whole series around him as Jimmy Olsen,
No, I agree. I think the way to do it, to be honest with you, would have had Skylar work with like a writer or something like that, and to
Yeah.
do a Jimmy TikTok series, to be honest with
Oh,
you.
that's a
I
great
think
point.
that would have
Yeah.
been really unique.
Yeah.
You could have had that in the, like, keep it like, you don't have to run it all the time. Like, maybe you
Yeah.
run it the course of a season of television. So if you do it for, you obviously can pre-record everything because
Right.
it's supposed to be taking place within the world of DC, not in the real world. So
Right.
shoot whatever you need to shoot, have that be live for like maybe a video a week
Mm.
type thing until the next Superman movie or till Supergirl or whatever, and do something like that. Because again, you could shoot, if the course of time it takes to shoot a movie, a couple months, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a TV show, a couple of months. I guarantee you could probably get all this shit done in about 3 or 4 weeks,
Right.
and just have that all be shot and then release and do it that way. That would have been interesting. But just a straight TV show about Jimmy and doing all this, it's fine. But like you said, if the point is to not give homework, you're doing the exact opposite. And it's not that Jimmy isn't an interesting character, but the truth of the matter is, of all of the characters involved in Superman's life, for me at least, he's not super high priority. Like, it's it's Clark slash Superman, it's Kara slash Supergirl, it's Lois, it's hell. I'm surprised they didn't do a Crypto the way they did I Am Groot. But you
Right.
didn't do some sort of kid show with like with Crypto's adventures or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. It's a great point.
You know, I would be more interested in a Daily Planet show than I would just a Jimmy show. Like
Right.
if Jimmy was the lead of it, sure, but like you tried to force all these Daily Planet characters into my life. I would rather you give me a show. Like I haven't seen the paper. I don't know if you did, if it was
Yeah.
good or not.
I thought it was
But
fine. Yeah, it's a fine show. It ain't The Office, but it's a fine show.
I think attack The Office, but do it with the Daily
Yeah.
Planet and just call it The Planet. Like that would have been hilarious.
That's a great point.
And you've already have comedic geniuses. I mean, Skylar is very funny.
Yeah.
You got Beck Bennett in there.
Yeah.
Like you got ballers. And at any time, like it's like, well, where's Lois? Where's Clark? It could be like, man, you know, they screw it in the supply closet, or I don't know. He said he was on a vacation, or you can come up with any number of excuses. And maybe every time you don't see Clark, you just see a blur go by of like, whatever. It's like, what the hell was that, man? They got to fix that draft. Like there are so many things you could have done with that I personally would have found more interesting. So I'm just curious, like I'm going to need more details, because just off rip, I don't care.
Well, does the fact that they're focusing on Gorilla Grodd, and they said the first season, so there's an implication that this is going to be a multiple season show. The first season would be focusing on Gorilla Grodd, who is, yes, well known to the people in the comic book bubble, but isn't really that well known to the casuals. So is this and you look at the numbers for Peacemaker. The numbers for Peacemaker were not good. The viewership numbers, if you look at the viewership numbers, only the finale was able to break the Nielsen top 10 ratings or whatever, but the other numbers for the show were not great. So that's an issue that, well, is TV where you're supposed to be introducing these characters that you're going to launch into the theatrical universe as you're leading to some Crisis on Infinite Earths type of thing? Is this really the smart move? I think there's a questions to be asked about this decision.
Yeah, I think the other element to it that's interesting is the idea of, I've always known Gorilla Grodd as like a DC villain in general, but more as a Flash villain. So it's also weird to me that it's not to say you can't have the crossover or the bleed over or whatever. It's the DC universe. It is what it is. And he's fought Superman plenty of times. That's another thing that's just a little weird to me, I guess.
Yeah.
And I would also venture a guess, it's not to say that these like super villains with crazy powers and stuff aren't something that Jimmy would potentially come across or anything like that. But there's something about Jimmy being able to overturn a Lex Luthor scandal, who's obviously a super villain, but you know, you're talking about money and politics, which is more what journalists are going to be able to do. What story is Jimmy going to write that's going to overturn Gorilla Grodd's grand plan? Like, bro, it'll mind scramble you and crush you like a soda can. Like, I'm not. It's just, it's a little weird to me, unless he's like uncovering that Gorilla Grodd was mind controlling the person behind something, in which case you've already ruined the fact that Grodd's involved. So like, to me, I am not anti them rolling stuff out and putting stuff out there, but if you're just asking me about my interest and what I think about these kind of, they don't have me that excited. Because I just think there are better ways to potentially attack this. And I stand by the idea of, and maybe the Jimmy Olsen show is more about the planet, and it's just being Jimmy is the lead, and that's the way you're going. Okay, well then I'll see that when we get the trailer or everything else. But the initial announcement isn't tickling my pickle at all. Like I'm chilling. Like
I think of a content creator I went to lunch with recently, and he told me, you know, the few weeks after Superman already been released, he was like, I'm going to do one more Superman video. And I was like, what? People are still, and he's like, oh yeah, I can squeeze one more video out of it. And this is what it feels like James Gunn is doing with his Superman saga right now, is that he's trying to, like a content creator, he's trying to squeeze out multiple videos, but in this case, they're multiple projects out of the success of Superman. Let's get that sequel going. I've got Supergirl coming. I got a possibly Mr. Terrific series rolling through. I've got a version of a Peacemaker season 3, but it's going to be something else. And then I've got this Daily Planet show. And so it's just like he's trying to squeeze everything out of this thing to create this saga. And I don't know. I don't know necessarily people are going to be excited about it. And is it going to outstay its welcome? You know, the guys who wrote it or going to write it, wrote Strays, which was a fine, funny movie, but there were some jokes that really didn't land in that comedy. And then,
I loved every second of
Did
Strays.
you really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe this would be your cup of tea. But I think the number one thing people are commenting in our chat saying that we want superheroes. We don't want this. And so
that's
the
problem.
A fair complaint, right?
That's the problem. And I think that's where a lot of people would miss stuff. The only time that stuff works is like as a small offshoot and because it has a tie. So I think about like some of the stuff, the smaller things that Marvel did in like the initial Infinity Saga, like having the little short film thing where Thor has a roommate.
Oh yeah, the one shots. Yeah.
Like those were like interesting because like Thor was still involved.
Right.
You know, it's like, so he's not, you know, slinging lightning or anything, but the idea of him having a roommate and Mjolnir being a problem, like that's funny. It becomes a little fish out of water type scenario.
Yeah.
Even if it's like a comedy journalist thing, like I already, you know, that wasn't comedy, but I already watched the Sorkin show, The Newsroom. I already watched the morning show.
Right.
So like, again,
right.
This isn't necessarily a bad idea, but it's not exciting. You know what I'm saying? There's not that you don't let me tell you how to run your studio, but you would think that, like you said, we want superheroes. So put out Superman.
Yeah.
And then put out Supergirl. And then put out, you know, Mr. Terrific and Lantern. Like focus on the reason we're here. Nobody tunes in to Batman for Bob that, you know, almost got robbed by Two-Face. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're interested in that storyline if, hey guys, let me talk about the time I met Batman. And then the whole story is like, oh, okay, I got to follow Bob around here. And then it's like, oh man. And then he went on this misadventure with Batman. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're into it.
Yeah.
So unless you're telling me that ultimately we're going to see hella soups involved in this Jimmy show. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I enjoyed Gotham for what it was, but like if I'm keeping it a buck, like as interesting as Jim Gordon is, and he is interesting, every day we didn't have a Batman, I was like,
yeah. Even when you're reading GCPD, which was a really good series, you wanted Batman in more of the series than he was, and it just got a little, at times it got a little frustrating. So that's the things you run into. And once you have the superheroes that are in their world, you've got to get them into a series. So,
dude, I am literally imagining a Daily Planet show. Shit, maybe I need to go pitch this. A Daily Planet show again. It's just like The Office. You're doing a mockumentary style stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, we got to get this deadline out. You know, the Gotham Knights are playing the Metropolis Sentinels, and this is like the Super Bowl, man. Like we gotta make it happen. You know, we got to get down to the thing. Oh, dude, Livewire just came through and shorted out everybody's cars. Like we have no way to get to the stadium. So then it's a whole sitcom episode of trying to get to the damn thing. They go to get on the train. The train shut down because Livewire went through there too. Like stuff like that would be hilarious.
Right.
And I would totally watch that because now you're taking what makes sitcoms funny and you're just plugging it into a superhero world. Yeah. That would be really funny. Yeah. But shit, maybe I do pitch this. Let me know. Somebody text Coy. Tell him I got an idea.
Yeah. So we'll see. But the V for Vendetta one, I'm a little more excited about that. Although I don't know. I mean, I don't know too much about this dude's work. Who is running the V for Vendetta one? What is it? Pete Jackson, not Peter Jackson. Pete Jackson. The Death of Bunny Monroe. I don't know anything about that. And the executive producers, Ben Stevenson and Leanne Klein, of course, with Gunn and Peter Safran. I don't know them too much, but I, as you said, I love the series as well. I still have the first editions of the run. Like I collected them and I have them in one of my wooden boxes that I keep certain comics in because they were so precious to me. And of course I bought the collection as well and enjoyed that. So it's a really great story. And you're right. The authoritarian approach, for our day and age is a fascinating thing. But why do this? Why do V for Vendetta? Is this because, you know, you made a lot of strong commentary in Peacemaker about authoritarian regimes and even Superman to a degree about the idea of what billionaires with power and tech bros. So is this political commentary is that why he's chosen V for Vendetta? Because he wants to take a shot at Trump and the idea of what's going on now in our society. It's a fascinating decision, especially because Zaslav is a very well-known MAGA guy. So for Gunn to make this decision, I think is really curious. And there's rumors, as you said, that whoever's going to come in is going to throw Gunn out and start DC all over again if they sell Warner Brothers. Is this Gunn trying to get this out before that sale eventually happens and he gets shuttered off the DC brand? We'll
I
see.
mean, we are coming up on the 20th anniversary, so
Yeah,
maybe that has
it'll be
something
out
to
in
do with
theaters.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I mean, they are supposed to be able to do what they want to do,
Right.
so it is what it is. Like, go for it. But
Yeah.
there are concerns. I'm concerned that we're gonna hear about this thing and it's gonna be super exciting, only for it to legitimately just be torn asunder like the minute the sale happens, because it's been straight up said that they're done with the quote unquote woke stuff and we're gonna make it more MAGA friendly over here. And the whole point, like, part of the thing is, other than the idea of like, oh, hey, we want the IP of Warner. That's why this idea of we're going to axe all sorts of content. I always thought it was silly that it was like, look, you, by owning Paramount already and looking at CBS and how they've run things, they've cornered the market in all sorts of stuff that people that are MAGA or middle America or anything love. Like, I mean, legitimately, like all the CSIs, the NCISs, Two Broke Girls when it was out, Big Bang Theory when it was out. What's the one now with Tim Allen and Kat Dennings?
Shifting Gears.
Shifting Gears. There's a number of shows that people love.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the idea of not having a true media landscape where there's something for everybody. This random idea of we are only going to show this one thing is kind of dumb, just because different people have different interests, have different belief systems. And the point of media is supposed to be this idea that you can not only see a reflection of yourself, but that you could see other things.
Yes.
This idea of clamping down on that, I don't think you should. Like, I didn't rock with the Passion of the Christ when it came out, but I think it was there was a perfect place for people that was important to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only part that's weird to me. So I would love for this V for Vendetta thing to actually get made. I would love for it to come out, and whatever commentary what needs to be is going to be set out of it. I think that would be awesome, but I don't know if it'll survive it based off of just things that are going around. Now, mind you, a studio's not going to stop announcing projects even if they're mid-merger.
It's true.
So
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the end result is on these two shows. And we'll see what happens to the Paradise Lost show that was supposed to be about the Mascara and the ladies there, the Amanda Waller show. What's going to go on with that? So still some questions hanging around all of this stuff and these announcements. So we'll see. We'll keep tabs on it. Let's move on to this story. What do you think about this, Wiz? This is happening. Sabrina Carpenter is apparently set to star and produce in an untitled movie musical based on Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, which has been set up at Universal Pictures. The original novel follows a girl named Alice who falls down a rabbit hole to land in a fantastical, nonsensical world of talking and human-like animals, basically our world. Previous adaptations, of course, the 1951 Disney one, Tim Burton's one, which grossed over $1 billion. I still find that to be fascinating. Hustlers writer-director Lorenz Scafaria will pen and direct the film, while Mark Platt will produce alongside Leslie Morgenstein and Elisa Koplovitz-Dutton. No word yet whether Ben Platt will have a role as a young child in that project. And the project to be a passionate one for Sabrina Carpenter, a passion project. And she's been working on it for well over a year and what have you. So I've seen her on SNL. She's fine. She's no Ariana Grande in terms of acting or whatever. So does this
hilarious?
I mean,
like Ariana is hilarious.
Yes, Ariana's great on that show. Sabrina, much less so. Do you want to see this? Like, does it make sense?
I don't know if I remember her much on SNL. Like, I can only really see Sydney. Unfortunately, in my mind's eye, which. Bro, the best. Did Sydney go back on SNL, or was just the one episode?
No, I think it was just that one episode. Yeah.
Because like the only thing I remember from that one episode that genuinely had me laughing was either the Hooters episode, which wasn't even her doing anything. It was just them being like, "Titties, money," like, and then what? Bowen, the Bowen is straight thing, which was funny.
Yeah.
I don't remember Sabrina Carpenter on SNL, to be honest with you.
She just was on a couple of weeks ago again.
I haven't watched a single episode this season yet. I think I was so turned off by all the random firings. I was just like, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah.
So eventually I'll watch. But look, man, she started off as an actress and before she really got into music, because she was doing all the Disney stuff. Because she was in The Hate You Give, which she was good in that. She was in the Girl Meets World series. So I'm willing to check it out and see what's going on there. I've never been big into musicals personally. I make exceptions. But I whatever. Like I don't need to be so blasé about everything today, but I'm kind of like, it's fine.
I haven't seen, she hasn't impressed me in anything that she's ever done. And don't give me Disney stuff. I mean, come on, don't even. It's not even.
She was actually a good child actress, though.
Sure, yeah, fine for Disney. Okay, fine, but like that's not. I mean, there's plenty of them, right? I mean, Britney was good on Disney, and how that turned out. The thing you look at this is that, well, can she make the jump, right? And there was questions about Ariana Grande, and then you saw her Wicked, and we're like, okay, she can make the jump. Will Sabrina be able to make the jump? I think less so from what I've seen on SNL and other places. So I don't know if this is going to make sense. But Scafaria writing and directing it is very curious to me, considering what she did with Hustlers, which was pretty amazing. What is her angle on Alice in Wonderland? And now I'm really curious to see where she's going to go with this. I don't know what her experience is with musicals or directing musicals or what have you. So who are they going to bring in to be the musical composer or coordinator for this, to create the lyrics and music and songs? Will it be all Sabrina's songs? Will it be other people? So there's questions to be had. That being said, this is clearly a property that makes money. I mean, that the Disney film is one of the most revered animated films ever. And the Tim Burton one made $1 billion. So there is a market for Alice in Wonderland. I just wonder what a current adaptation, what the commentary is on it, if Sabrina will be great. We will see.
I mean, I'm looking back at this, man, and because now I was like, okay, let me go and just check her, go and check her stuff. Like, first of all, Sabrina's got some steez, bro, because I forgot she was. I've seen every episode of SVU way too many times. She was in one way back in 2011, like she was young, but she was really good. I do remember this episode. And she did a good job there. She couldn't have been older than maybe 6.
Right.
Like something like that. But she did good there. But then beyond that, The Hate You Give, I do remember she was like the main kind of like white girl friend / antagonist to the main character, who was went to that white super rich prep school.
Right.
And was dealing with like a bunch of microaggressions and like racism within that school.
Right.
While dealing with back in her neighborhood, family members getting killed and all sorts of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So Sabrina was very good in that too, man. So I am not as worried about her acting as I am about, we're getting to Alice in Wonderland. The last couple of these, let's dive back into Disney kind of classic princess stories, haven't done so hot.
Right.
So I'm more thinking about Snow White than I am worried about Sabrina's acting. You know what I'm saying? That's more where my mind goes.
Well, it'll be number 1 on streaming, as Rachel Zegler reminded us earlier this week. So maybe that Alice in Wonderland will be number 1 as well.
Snow White number 1 on streaming for a little bit?
It was when it dropped on Disney. So,
look, everybody, that's the funny thing. It's not universal, but if you were a big name project, whether it was good or bad, you're going to be number 1 in streaming for at least a week, because people want to go, well, okay, so what was it that everybody was talking about?
Exactly. No, all the bad Marvel films come out and they're at number 1 in the streaming of that week, because we want to check it out. So we'll see what this happens with Sabrina and where it goes overall. But all right, let's get into the thick of our conversation, man. Let's get into Sydney Sweeney here. Let's talk about her overall. She was the talk of the town this week. Christy came out over the weekend, absolutely bombed at the box office. But before it came out, she gave a number of interviews about the situation. She gave an interview with GQ about the jeans ad and the backlash. Remember, she said she didn't want to talk about it when she was at I think it was Venice or Toronto. And now she's talking about it. And this interview has become kind of a train wreck in terms of the reaction from people to this. So let's play it. Let's play a snippet of it and see what you all think of this. And we'll talk about it.
We're sort of talking around this American Eagle ad right now. And maybe we should just talk about it. So were you surprised by the reaction?
I did a Gene ad.
Okay. Were you surprised by the reaction, Winston? And her reaction is, I did a Gene ad, like it was no big deal. Like the reaction wasn't like she wasn't involved in the writing and the conception of this, wasn't involved with the way it was put out, and then people's response to it.
I mean, the reaction definitely was a surprise, but it was, I love jeans. All I wear are jeans. I'm literally in jeans and a t-shirt like every day of my life.
Jeans are uncontroversial. Jeans are awesome.
Yeah.
I think I know how you're going to answer this, but I'm going to ask anyway. I mean, the president tweeted about the jeans ad, or Truth Socialed about the jeans ad, and that just seems to me like a very crazy moment for anyone, and I wondered what that was like.
It was surreal.
It was surreal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what are your thoughts on this, Winston?
I didn't expect a real answer out of her.
Okay.
So to be honest, like I don't, because there was another part of that interview where she goes, if there was something I wanted to say, I would say it.
Right.
And to be honest with you,
that one as well. Yeah.
Whether that is her or her PR team,
right,
they have done a very good job of letting the people that want to be all about her, go for it.
Yeah.
But not, and so like they're not going to ever directly acknowledge it, but they're not going to turn it away, because the main thing that they're trying to do is to have her star rise. Right. And it's pretty clear right now in the public eye, she is getting more clout for the conservative base that's like, she's blonde and got titties, than like people that are like, man, that Sydney Sweeney is a powerful actress. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
right.
Even with, because I said this about Christy, that like I thought that her emotional highs were actually fantastic. And I thought that that would probably be enough to get her a nomination. Where I take pause, though, the moments where she's got to be kind of even, or like even be low energy, her accent was dropping. It felt like she wasn't always engaged. It felt like I wasn't watching Christy. I was watching Sydney Sweeney talk to somebody else. Like so that was my little beef there, especially when you have a Ben Foster who was on a tear.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Like he did such a good job. So again, if I'm grading her, I'm giving her like a B minus on that. Like I don't think that she was like bad, but I didn't think that she blew me away. But those moments that she was like, we really need this 3-pointer. Oh, she hit it from the logo. Like I had those moments, but then when it was time to go do a layup, I was like, so I say all that to say that like, I am not surprised, because this is then on the flip side of this, I'm sure you've seen the tweets that have gone around about the PR team.
But they debunked those tweets because
they've already been debunked.
Yeah, because that isn't Paradigm's actual website address and signature. So a few critics have stepped out to say it was not true.
Great. I wasn't sure one way or the other. Like, because I saw two. I saw the one from Paradigm, and then there was another one of somebody saying, hey, it's positive on the popcorn meter.
Right.
You know, despite the low box office. That was also debunked too.
Yes, those were all not.
Okay.
Not
then you know, I to that point, like I don't want to feed the beast, so it is what it is.
That's why I just want to focus on her responses and and let's play the other one as you were mentioning here, Winston, which I think is also the part of the one that
the criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
So that is such so here's the deal. You got to factor in this. One, she's a young person, right? So you got to throw that in. How many of us knew what the fuck was going on politically really well and in depth and incisively at that age? And especially someone who is working constantly on stuff. You're right. Now, she may be MAGA. Yes or no, I don't know. It certainly seems to feel that way, but we don't know. But there was an opportunity here to say something about how people responded to the ad. And to me, she is dismissing it and scoffing at it and laughing about it and trying to diminish it, right? And underplay it. And you had a few people respond to it. Emily Wood put a vomiting emoji. This photographer that I retweeted went off on her about not understanding it. And so I hear that you can say, well, she's unfairly being put, but there is a responsibility you have to speak about this stuff when you kind of broach the subject like this in the way that it was interpreted. And it's an easy way to just step forward and say, I understand people are upset about it, was completely not my intention. I really was an innocent ad, but I will be, in the future, I will be more conscious of this kind of stuff because I respect all people. What is really confusing about Sydney, though, is that she chooses to do shows and TV stuff that are really left-leaning. She doesn't do right-leaning stuff. Yet,
I mean, that was the thing that was interesting about Christy flopping.
Yeah.
If you're quote unquote the MAGA princess that people are saying you are, or at least that she's been claimed between the Trump tweet and whatever else.
Right.
They're not gonna show up to go watch a lesbian who leans kind of like, for lack of like butch, like a butch lesbian fighter that's dealing with her domestic violence husband and is kind of like talking about how the South and Christian way in which she was raised was like not, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like none of that is going to align with the people that are caping for one way or the other.
Right.
So like that was an interesting, like, again, I get why she did it. It's good Oscar bait. And like, again, I think she also did really well with the fight training and everything else.
Yeah.
I thought that was also really well done.
Right.
It's just interesting in that regard. But I will say this, while I don't love that answer, I'm also of the mindset that like, as effed as that was, I think it got kind of blown so far out of proportion, especially considering some of the other things that were going on at the time. Right. That like, it's one of those things where if she had even said what you had suggested,
right,
the number of people that would have slammed her, oh, you're just into the woke me.
Right,
like if her point is to keep her brand up,
right,
that was like nobody on the left is really rocking with her that hard.
But that's what I'm saying. I think she's getting fucked from to learn to not to mean that in any way physical, but like
I know.
She's in the middle of
both. Definitely a choice set of words.
Yeah, I apologize. I think she's in the middle of both, right? Like the MAGA people are using her for their culture war, but they're not showing up to see her projects or her movies. Like she's had 4 flops in a row in the movie theater. One of them directed by Ron Howard, for God's sake. So she's had 4 flops in a row in the movie theaters. You can argue, is she choosing the right projects, blah, blah, blah. But she does herself no favors even to try to curry the left with these answers in this interview. And by the way, I am so tired of interviewers who sheepishly ask tough questions. And I get it. You can write congratulations.
I was gonna say that too.
But like this, I hope it's okay if I ask you this question.
I did not like that at all, bro. That made me uncomfortable because if you're gonna ask a hard question, I need you to be sure of yourself. It's kind of this, without getting graphic. If you want to do some kind of freaky with your lady, if you're like, would it maybe be okay if like you, I don't know, if like if I sucked your toes, like, you know what I'm saying? If, like, you're gonna make her feel awkward when you say it like that, versus like, hey girl, let me see them feet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those are same thing. If you're gonna get into the mix with the political question, Sydney, this is gonna be kind of a rough question because I know it was kind of wild, but Jean's ad came out. There were people talking about eugenics and stuff like that. Did you know what it was about? Do you have anything to say? Do you feel any sort of responsibility? Or go for it.
Yes.
I'm just going to maybe ask you. I don't know how you feel about it. So if you don't want to answer, I understand. So I'm going to do it anyway. Like, bro, come on.
And this is what happens now because you have the studios who are very hyper sensitive about who they allow to have access to their talent and their creatives now. They rarely let them go on shows, or they rarely go on shows that are going to challenge him. I mean, James Gunn did this whole round of interviews. He went on no channel that challenged him with some of his hypocritical statements or confusing statements. None of them challenged him on any of that stuff. And so they carefully pick and choose. Same thing here. I think they vetted this GQ interviewer, saw that she was going to be like kind of cowed by Sydney, and she asked a very meek question, and Sydney, rightfully so, just kind of steamrolled her. And you could have absolutely put her on the spot and had her answer the question and whatever. If she walks out, she walks out. Fuck her. Like, you've got to, journalism has to come back. This is so ridiculous what's happening across the board, that these people, because they can say lines really believably on a camera, all of a sudden are revered in this way that you can't ask them questions. They're fucking human beings. I'd ask George Clooney shit. Like, you got to put people on the spot. It's just so frustrating to see this kind of stuff.
And I get it, because I understand that there is this quick backlash that's happening to people sometimes when they ask said questions. So, like, mind you, if you're gonna act like an ass, you're gonna get called out for being an ass. Like, thinking about the Julia Roberts, Edo Edebiri, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that journalist was an idiot because you decided to ask a gendered racial question
Right.
to everybody but the one person who would affected completely.
Right.
One person that technically it wouldn't affect, just being a white man, and then the other, like, yes, as a woman, but you also asked about Black Lives Matter. So, like, what are you doing?
Right.
That was bad journalism. It's just as bad to go in with an agenda, as it is to not be strong enough to actually stand by your convictions.
Right.
So even if that journalist had said, like, going back to the AO thing, being like, I do actually want to hear your answer as well, but I want to ask Julia and Andrew first, just because they're not uniquely tied to the scenario as you might be, AO. I would love to hear your response to this. And then, do you have anything that you feel differently about? That would be the way you do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's not what she did. She very clearly iced out the Black woman. So in the same breath, on the flip side of it, now you've got a scenario where you have this opportunity to ask this quote unquote hard-hitting question, and the one controversy she was involved in. Right. And you don't have the stones to just say it.
Yeah.
You made me uncomfortable asking that question. Like,
And this is, I saw someone say, well, this is entertainment journalism. No, it isn't. This is Kat Stoffel, who is the features director at GQ magazine. This isn't fucking Screen Rant, or Movie Web, or even Collider. These are journalists who are going in, who can ask questions that are incisive, right? She's worked for Bustle. She's worked for the Hearst Digital Media. She was a senior editor at Condé Nast for 3 years. So she started out at BuzzFeed when she started in 2015, but she worked at New York Magazine for 3 years. This is not a woman without an incredible resume of reporting and training as a journalist. So to me, that's the thing that shocked me when I was watching it. It's like, come on, you're someone who's put people on the spot before. You've got to be able to do that. So this wasn't your standard entertainment journalism. This was a legitimate journalist who went in.
And on top of that, I try not to, like, be floating around in the comments and just focus on what we're talking about. But I saw someone saying, well, why don't we stop asking actors political questions and just act about acting? Well, guess what? This was about an ad that she acted in. So what are we talking about?
Right.
And when you're asking about Black Lives Matter and Me Too, especially considering what the movie was about. If you understood specifically what the movie that AO and Andrew and Julia were in, about sexual inappropriateness with a student, and if it was real, if it was fake, it is directly tied to what the movie is about. So it's okay to, like, no, you should not randomly, if I'm going in, John, man, great to see you, bro. Like, amazing. Like, you're doing this movie about the Smurfs. We're so proud of you. So what do you think about the war in Gaza? Like, that, what does that have to do with the Smurfs? That makes a little more sense to be like, that seems like that's coming out of left field. But literally, this is about something that she acted in. This was not specifically about Christy. This was about her and her career. And that was a major project that she was in that got a lot of attention. So it makes logical sense. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's like you can question George Clooney about him writing that op-ed about Joe Biden. You can absolutely question him in this situation. I think the thing that the MAGA playbook is to do something that is controversial and then act all sheepish about it, as if other people are reactive. Like we're seeing Super Sane with his ridiculous comments throughout our entire conversation here. It's like manufactured controversy. MAGA told me it's manufactured, therefore I must believe it is manufactured. And it's like, it's that kind of thing. And it's like, no, people legitimately saw what was going on here. The coded language. Watch Spike Lee's Bamboozled to see the history of coded language in throughout ads and advertisements that have gone on for years in our country. And so this is the thing that brought up, and of course, the idea of eugenics, the idea of genes, that goes all the way back to slavery times, you know? And so this is these things that this ad was touching on. Now, do I think Sydney Sweeney is some kind of incredibly intelligent, malevolent person who was manipulating? No. I think, though, that she was involved in something, and then people maybe around her team saw that this could go in a certain direction, get attention for herself in a certain way, and kind of poke the political bear a little bit, which people do for attention nowadays. And it's blown up in her face to a degree, because look at the Christy box office. Look at the box office last few films she's had. She's not a star in any way, shape, or form other than on TV in Euphoria, and Zendaya is the bigger star, arguably, than she is. But I'll say this, but clearly, I want to make it clear. I think she's a damn good actress. I think she's a damn good actress. I want to make that clear. But the thing is that this kind of stuff is so unnecessary. Yes, I think Sydney Sweeney is a damn good actress. I do. And I liked her in Christy more than you did. I liked her in Christy more than, which of course is all subjective. So I'm not judging your opinion.
No,
I liked her in Euphoria. You know, when I've seen
I love her in Euphoria. But part of the reason,
Immaculate. I thought she was good.
Part of the reason why I love her, I haven't seen Immaculate, so I can't speak to that. But part of the reason why I loved her in Euphoria is because that character is constantly at a 10. Like very rarely is
fair point.
So that's part of what, but that's my whole point.
Yeah. She's better here,
and she is 3-point shot, her slam dunk, whatever you want to say, is like the showboaty, like, man.
Yeah.
Crazy handles.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's fine. If you want to use whatever analogy you want to use. My problem is just the direct interaction stuff where I'm like, well, now I don't feel like you're in the world that you're in. I just feel like you're just saying the lines. Right. And that's where I run into issues with their acting. But that's, again, different conversation for like my point in that, like my best example of that outside of Christy, Anyone But You. I don't think there's any reason that movie should have necessarily been that bad.
Yeah.
But it felt like Glenn Powell was literally putting her on his back and dragging her through the movie. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, that's my whole thing. I mean, Madam Web was a bad movie as a whole, but like I also was like, like the whole time I was like, really? And you're trying to sell me on her being like some super nerdy, not attractive? Come on now, stop it.
That was nonsense.
So, like, all that being said, again, if the stuff you're going to partake in is gonna have anything that is going to be tied to some sort of potential message, or even if you're not doing it, you're gonna be cheeky about something to try and poke the bear because controversy gets clicks, and clicks means money. And that means it's all open for discussion. There's plenty of ads that come out that are like awesome, that don't intentionally flirt with the line. And that was the reason why this became a thing. You decided to flirt with the line. I think it was overblown, but you flirted with the line. So that means you're going to have to deal with what that means.
There's nothing wrong with people looking at something, reacting to it, and then you being asked about it and you addressing that concern. To scoff at it, to smirk at it, to smile at it, to say, I'll speak about it when I'm ready to speak about it. There is a sense of dismissiveness, condescension, and essentially
Nico Harrison.
undercutting of people's legitimate points of views or feelings about a situation. And isn't the last thing you want to do if you're trying to brand yourself as a person who is good for everybody to watch? Isn't the last thing you want to do is alienate people? See, the stupid fallacy MAGA has that they say over and over again is, oh, why do this? You're going to alienate half the audience. Guess what? If you cater to MAGA, you're alienating half the audience. So there's no fucking difference. So you want to be able to be appealing to all sides of the spectrum, especially as you're starting out. So I just found that to be inauthentic of her. It isn't her opinions. It's an inauthentic response that didn't want to address the situation and say, okay, I can hear, I see what people are saying. I don't agree, but I see what they're saying. And if they were offended, I apologize. It wasn't my intention. There is nothing wrong with clarifying that. And yes, if you say they bend to the woke mob, fine, but you didn't bend to the left mob. And guess what? Nobody went to see your fucking movie about a lesbian who gets out of a domestic violence situation to embrace her life as a lesbian so she can be happy with her life. And it was a good movie. It wasn't a great movie, but it was a good movie. It deserved a better box office than it got.
But I think the last part of it is we got to take into consideration it was a indie film done by a small production company. They did not market it very well. Most people didn't even know it was out, and you're in the midst of like Predator Badlands, and you're about to hit Wicked, and you just came out of spooky season, so like Five Nights at Freddy's is about to drop, and like there's a lot of stuff. The only reason that I was aware that Christy was even coming up is both A, for what I do for a living, and B, I happened to go to a Screen Unseen, and it was the thing that was there, and I thought it was a smart thing to put it on Screen Unseen to try and get some buzz going about it. Right. But on top of that, that Screen Unseen was 2 weeks ago. This was not like it just happened. In order, like the week of, which a lot of Screen Unseens happen, they come out on the Monday for it to drop on Friday. It was the Monday, 2 Mondays before the Friday it came out, and therefore the box office kind of probably took like all of the marketing steps felt off. And I don't know if it's just they didn't have the money to go full tilt. So this is what you got, or what it was. But it was I would say that this was less. Like Chrissy didn't do well, less because of a political thing that went down and more because of just missteps as a movie being presented. You know what I'm saying?
Well, right, but I don't think you can discount it. That's what I'm getting.
You can't discount it, but I don't think it's the reason. Like
no, I don't think it's the reason either. I don't, but I think it's one of the reasons.
I'll put it to you this way:
if
if your quarterback right now is what, Marcus Mariota? I didn't want to throw Jade into it. I didn't want to make you feel bad. If Marcus Mariota,
fine. Go ahead.
If Marcus Mariota throws 4 interceptions, and they're in the red zone when you guys were supposed to be scoring touchdowns and you end up no points, but then you have one dude over on special teams who fumbled and they got the ball back early. Yeah, that's part of the problem. That's another turnover. But one of your players accounted for 4 of them, and 4 times when you were supposed to be scoring. Like I think that there were bigger problems at play as to why the movie didn't work.
Fair, but I don't even think marketing is the number one reason. I think the number one reason is nobody knows who Christy Martin is anymore, and they did a while ago.
I learned through the movie. I thought like I literally didn't know myself.
Exactly, and I think that's the reason it bombed, is that no one knows her. Just like the Smashing Machine, no one knows Mark Kerr. They all fucking know The Rock, and even that film didn't do well because no one knows Mark Kerr, and they're not that interested in the story. No one knows Christy Martin. They're not. Yes, guys, thanks for clarifying. She's not a UFC fighter. It's a boxer. Yes, thanks for clarifying. Y'all can calm down now. But like that's the situation there. She wasn't that well known. And you couple that with the marketing, which I agree, Black Bear does not have the reach that Neon or A24 or Focus Features or these other more of artistic or art house type of approach would have. Even if it went into Warner Brothers or something, like there's a reason all these studios turned that movie down because they probably sensed it was going to be a hard sell. And they didn't want to sink their dollars into it. And in the end, they were proven right because nobody went to see this movie.
It was, and that was the thing. It was indeed a hard sell.
Yes.
Just because you still have to take it in consideration. Like, one, people are not, for the most part, going to the movies. There are exceptions.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But they're really not. You kind of unfortunately have trained them. To watch it at home. So
unless the indie dramas, you can watch at home. Yes.
Unless it is an event movie,
right?
People are typically not showing up. And so that what would have been smart if you didn't have the marketing to really pump that out like that. Maybe work out a deal where Christy drops on streaming first, and if it's blowing up and people are loving it, then do what K-pop Demon Hunters did and then go back and put it in theaters as like either like, I know that the rules still exist for it to even be Oscar nominated. It does have to spend some time in the theaters. I would have dropped it on streamers first and then in December release it for a week or so.
Right.
But I think that was the thing. They were trying. They obviously want the Oscar noms. They were trying to get some money out of this. And that, I think, is probably where you ran into a little bit of trouble, unfortunately.
Yeah, look, the first trailer, when it dropped, got 7.7 million views 2 months ago, right? If those 7 million people or 8 million people had gone to see the movie, we might have a better you might have had a better box office result, right? But I think what you're saying is correct. People saw the trailer, maybe we're interested, and we're like, fuck it, I'll wait till it comes on streaming in a couple of weeks. It was not an event type of film. It's not, I gotta go see it that weekend because everyone's going to be talking about it. Absolutely not. And you're right. Predator Badlands, other bigger films, they came out and absolutely squashed it. And so you see that as a result. And it's not the only one. And I want to give credit where credit's due. Sydney Sweeney did say, we don't, in reaction to the box office and the flop, like, I don't make movies just for numbers, it's for impact. And if anyone who has survived or is in a domestic violence situation sees my movie and reacts and gets out of it, then I've done something good. And I can't deny that. That's actually a very sweet sentiment. And I agree with her. And I think that's great. But
I give her so much credit, not only for that statement, but one of the things that I actually endeared me to Sydney going into the movie.
Yeah.
Was during the screen unseen, she was like, "Hey, I'm Sydney Sweeney. You're about to watch, Christy.
Yeah,
this is the type of movie that makes me not only appreciate and love what I do for a living, but it encourages me to work harder and do all those things." Like, it was very endearing to hear what she had to say, whether it was pre-scripted or it came from the heart.
Right.
It was a smart move because I found myself watching it at that point being like, all right, girl, come on, this is it. This is the moment that you become the champ. Like, your acting skills gonna hit like out of 10. Let's go.
Right.
And again, at moments like the powerful moments, like the major domestic violence scene in the third act.
Yeah.
She is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely incredible. In the lead up to, in the actual, during, and the after, she was crushing it.
Yeah.
But it would be stuff at like the dinner table at the beginning that I was like, okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would be the stuff where I'd be like,
yeah.
When she's needing to prove to Rodney King, not Rodney King, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, Don King. When she's trying to prove to Don King that she's got the stuff. I thought she was no, I got this. And like again, heightened emotions.
Yes.
Stellar acting.
Yeah.
It was when she needed to lower it. And so, like,
yeah.
I just say all that to say that I think that this movie, there was a bunch of random miscues. But if their ultimate goal wasn't necessarily to blow the box office up, if it was just to get these actors and maybe this script or whatever on the map for nominations, they did a good job for that. But that's about all you're probably going to see out of this at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Ben will be lucky to get nominated. He deserves to get nominated. I don't think Sydney's getting nominated at all, unfortunately. But like, I think this is where it's going to end up as. We'll see. All right. Well, let's. We're almost out of time, Winston. So we gotta make our left turn into sports. Let's talk about it. Do you want to talk about Nico Harrison is out as the GM of the Dallas Mavericks? This is happening. He is gone. The situation was untenable. Fire Nico chants breaking out in the stands, as you said. And of course, the Luka Doncic trade. And as you mentioned earlier, the Anthony Davis debacle, as he's been oft injured like he was playing for the Lakers, has come to bite them in the ass. And now he is out. This is not necessarily a surprising turn of events, but I thought the speed with which it happened is really surprising, because I thought they were going to give him a full season to see how his moves worked out. Because this is a guy who made moves, some bold moves that helped them reach the finals a couple of years ago. So it is surprising that he's not being given like at least one season to see if this experiment. Kyrie's not playing. So like I thought there was time, but clearly the situation became untenable. Your thoughts here, man?
I mean, but see, this is where they had a problem.
Okay.
It's one thing to trade the biggest star potentially in the league, if not the biggest, top 3, top 5.
Right.
Like, when you look at jersey sales, when you look at his international appeal, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's one thing to do that.
Right.
It's another thing to do it in the middle of the night and to try and sneak it out of there because, and the argument was, well, we had to because people would have been upset. I wonder why they would have been upset.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's all of that.
Yes.
Then on top of that, this isn't the first quote unquote mistake that he made. He had this whatever sort of vendetta that was anybody that was essentially quote unquote enabling or friendly to Luka, he got rid of. Like, it's not lost on me the Casey Smith story that came out of the trainer who was like out of town for his dying mother.
Yeah.
And Nico sends a text talking about, hey, I need you to come in the office. We need to talk. And he's like, I can't do that right now. My mom's dying. Okay, well then I'm going to set up a video conference call. This will be quick.
Right.
Dude, that is like, those are the type of things when you hear those stories.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, there's no humanity here. You went kind of like in, and then you had the audacity to laugh in our faces as fans to be like, you'll get over it. Winning fixes things. Like, you guys just, the fortune favors the bold. I didn't know they cared about Luka so much. Those are the types of things where I'm like, so you don't understand what half of your job is.
Right.
One half of your job is to put a team together that can go and win stuff. And the other half of your job is to put a team together that people want to buy jerseys, and they want to buy season tickets, and they want to go and root for their favorite player. There were certain things that you did that made a lot of sense. Like going to get Kyrie, people were a little confused because Kyrie had some like troubling stuff before and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
He was a baller, but ultimately pairing them together ended up being fantastic. And people were talking about, is this the greatest backcourt we've ever seen? Right. Like, those were the conversations that were being had at the time. So it's this weird mentality. And there's stuff that I know because of my own like connection and stuff, but again, there were no arguments that were being made that made it enough, especially when you decided, if you really feel defense wins championships. You had a couple games before Anthony Davis got hurt and has been out.
Yeah.
They were the worst defense in the league before the injury, and then they got worse.
Yes.
So your grand master plan of, we got defense. No, you don't. You can't score to save your life. I understand that everybody was hurt, but like, we had almost a full season of this plan of yours, because it started back in February. Anthony Davis instantly got hurt and didn't play for like 5 weeks or whatever the hell it was.
Yep.
And then kind of played a little bit at the end. And then the one thing you kept talking about with Luka all day was, he's fat this, he's fat that. And the star you traded for came back overweight. And like his whole thing, I get it. He was like, hey guys, calm down. I get it. The kind of happens in the offseason. I play into shape. You know why that doesn't sound good? Because that was the same thing that was said about Luka. He plays his way into shape over the course of the season, because a lot of the conversation was, man, if he could only come into the season at that in shape that he was, knew that this would be a different conversation. Like, all the things that you made excuses as to why this was such a good plan, none of that was panning out. And you were the last in the league when you had just gone to the finals a season and a half ago. Yeah. So like, nah, bro. Like, do I feel maybe a little bad from a completely take me out of my fan base mindset that he didn't get to see his plan fully into fruition? A little, sure.
Yeah.
A baby bit, the human logical side of me, but everything else, as a fan, as somebody that doesn't like being talked down to, which is what it felt like Nico was doing to people for questioning his logic here. You're no better than Kevin Stefanski. If you really got beef with Luka like that, just say it. Look, Luka's an asshole. He was doing this, that, and the other, and then slam him, and then do it. If it's really like that, then lay out receipts. If Kevin Stefanski's got something on Shador, he doesn't work hard enough. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. He's not ready. Then put it out there. But instead, you keep tap dancing around it so you look like the ass, and therefore no sympathy can be had for you because you're not making a case to defend yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the quizzical thing for me is that the owners seem to be escaping any blame. And I think that needs to stop too, because it wasn't like Nico could do whatever he wanted. The owners were like, we're so blind. We have no idea. We'll just take your word for it. No, these are guys who are spending the money. They signed off on the trade. So I think Nico is yes, arrogant, condescending, all of that, concede all of that. But I also think he's a little bit being made the fall guy for what the management wanted to do, which was to save money. So they're using this guy as the fall guy because they didn't want to pay Luka the max extension. They saved that money, but now they fucked their own team. So let's fire Nico because Nico was the one, he's the face of this whole thing because we made him the face of this whole thing. But eventually the anger's got to turn on the owners as well who approve this kind of thing. Because once Nico's out of the way, guess what? You don't have a buffer to stop people being upset for the rest of the season for your decisions in doing this. So now it's going to be about turning their anger towards the owners. And I think that's going to eventually happen as the season goes on. I think it was a mistake to fire Nico now. Keep him on for the whole season. Let him be your shield against people's anger until the end of the season. and then boom,
money.
Yeah, so,
They would have. You would have never had time to do that because of money. Because the problem was, not only were you having these chants completely throughout. These games at these home games. You were the laughing stock. The internet was constantly every single loss. And if the point is to try, I would also not be surprised if there was something along the lines that Nico maybe even took himself out of, like if he still believes in his stuff that much. It needs to come off as a firing because then it looks like whatever. And then on top of that, if I believe these guys can do it, you have to take out the distraction. You were the distraction.
100%.
So I say all that to say that, like, again, it wasn't just the move going down. It was how he then decided to handle it.
How he defended it. Yeah.
And how he defended it. And my brother, who really doesn't follow basketball like that, like, and I mentioned earlier, was like, oh man, isn't that dad's friend? Blah, 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 blah. I told him, I was like, this is one of two things. Either A, he made a bad decision that he thought was a good one, and therefore deserved to lose his job for it. Or if it really was, the owners came to you and said, we're not paying Luka. Figure out how to get rid of him or to solve this problem. You allowed yourself to be a pawn for them.
Yes.
In which case you were a weak-willed individual, and neither of those things look good. You either had some dicey moves previously as a GM that worked out, and then you made you decided to go all in on a pair of twos when they were showing 3 threes out of the thing. You're like, I got a full house, bro. Not even thinking about, what if he has a higher pair of anything and has a higher full house? What if it like you didn't even remotely try to pretend to do that, including the idea that it came out that supposedly they were going to get 2 firsts out of the whole thing. But Pelinka was able to be like, look, bro, if we got to keep it secret, we got to move fast. I'll give you 1. He's like, okay, fine. Like, which then again, what is your negotiation skills? Because in what world do you trade a 25-year-old just starting to get into their prime for somebody who is at the tail end of their prime, that they maybe have a couple more years, but is already injury prone, and you get 1 first for him, for someone who was first team All NBA like 6 out of his 7 seasons and rookie of the year? Are you out of your mind? It just across the board, even if you put all these pieces together that add up and make some grand defensive stand of a team, every way this was handled was wrong.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. All across the board. I don't disagree with you. I think
here it is.
Everybody.
I did know Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know to what level.
Yeah, that's a direct nonsense. Quote. That's utter nonsense. Like, people who aren't even GMs of the Dallas Mavericks understood. Regular fans understood how important Luka was. How can you not understand that? Being in the building, seeing every game, being in the building for the games, how can you not understand how important Luka was to the fan base? It's nonsense. It's a nonsense narrative that he's floating out there that is utter bullshit. He's lying through his teeth. He's
averaging 37 a game.
He's averaging almost 10 points more now per game than he did at the height of his abilities with the Mavericks.
37.1 points a game, 49.1% from the field, 33% from 3. 9.4 rebounds, 9.1 assists, 1.1 steals, and 0.4 blocks. So even his defense has gone up after all of the crap you wanted to give him about that. Like,
he's the situation. That's the thing. They blew it all across the board with that. We'll see what happens going forward with them. All right, let's get to the NFL, because I know we got some questions to get to here, Winston, real quick. Week 10 in the NFL, the Broncos squeaked by the Raiders in one of the ugliest games you're ever going to see. The Colts came back in overtime overseas to beat the Falcons in Berlin. The Bears came back on the Giants, which cost the job of Brian Daboll in the end. The Dolphins shocked the Bills and made everyone wonder about Josh Allen and the Bills as pretenders to the throne. The Ravens continued their winning ways, now just a 1 game back on the Steelers for the lead in the AFC North. The Jets got their 2nd win in a row, beating the Cleveland Browns. So Jetsy. The Patriots beat the Buccaneers in probably the premier game of the weekend. The Saints won against the Panthers, who now look like pretenders again. The Texans came back and beat the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, where are you? The Seahawks crushed the Cardinals. The Rams crushed the 49ers. The Lions crushed my Commanders. The Chargers beat out these Steelers, and Aaron Rodgers looked every bit of his 41 years old. And the Eagles squeaked by the Packers after a terrible 64-yard field goal kick was skewed left in overtime or right in regular play rather to get the victory. So in Green Bay. So your thoughts? Anything big stood out to you from this weekend? What do you think?
I'm just gonna do a quick thought on each one just to
Okay.
get through it all. Broncos have no offense; they're pretenders. I think they're gonna go down. The Colts are literally Jonathan Taylor. He deserves to be MVP.
I mean,
How the hell do
really.
you have 244 yards and 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
And I think the Daniel Jones experiment will ultimately fail. Yeah, Dable should have gone. It is what it is.
He was putting Jackson Dart in multiple concussion protocols. That's nonsense.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Not entirely surprised by the Bills. Josh Allen really doesn't have, like, he has James Cook, but you don't have any receiving help whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it is a division rival.
Yep.
You always have to be careful about division rivals, even if they're the worst team in the division.
Yep.
Ravens are on a tear. I think they will ultimately bounce back and win their division. Are we surprised the Browns suck? Just in case Matt's listening. The Patriots actually look like the deadliest team in the AFC.
Scary.
That's bad news for the Saints because I'm sure they at this point wanted to bottom out so they go get another quarterback. The division game again, Texans and Jaguars. So it really could have gone either way. Seahawks, to me, personally, I think they look like the deadliest team in the NFC. But it'll be interesting to see. You got division game, Seahawks at Rams going on Sunday. I'll come back and report on Tuesday.
That's going to be great.
I don't think the Niners have enough sauce to go the distance, but they're still a force until someone knocks them out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be bad until you get your quarterback back and get rid of all those old people.
Not even next season is he shouldn't even come back to play this season.
He shouldn't. He should take the rest of the season off.
I agree.
Which is saying something because I need him in fantasy. Chargers are going to be the Chargers. This just reminds me of the Phillip Rivers era over and over again. You're going to be good enough to get in the playoffs and people go, oh shit. But then somebody better is going to come along. And I go back to, I know Two Flag Cam is in here. Maybe El Boogie is. I do not fear the Eagles.
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
Why are you like, I get the Packers defense is a force.
Yeah.
But how do you have Devontae, AJ, Saquon, oh my God, who's the tight end? Dallas Goddard. How do you have all those weapons?
Yeah.
And you can only squeak out 10 point, even like, because it's not like the Packers defense is the defense in the league.
That game was ugly, man.
They do have a very good defense, but that's not the defense.
No.
So like,
Jalen,
how did that happen? You know what I'm saying? There's like, that was part of the concern I put out about the Eagles in the first place, is this random idea that like you're, for being the defending champs and the favorite, I need to see you be able to move the ball. And some weeks you can, but then some weeks it's like, what's happening? So we will ultimately see if they're able to hold it down and repeat, but I think there are much deadlier opponents out there.
Yeah. Next week's going to be fun, though. I think next week's going to be a lot of fun when you look at the matchups here, because I think Lions-Eagles is going to be a lot of fun. Chiefs-Broncos is going to be a lot of fun. Don't count out the Browns against the Ravens. They always seem to shock them in random ways. When you see the Seahawks-Rams is going to, all the after 1 o'clock games on the West Coast are going to be a lot of fun to watch. The Chargers-Jaguars, who's the real pretender between the two of those? That's going to be interesting. Will the Bears handle the Vikings, or will the Vikings bite back? Bills and Buccaneers, bro, in Buffalo, that is going to be the game of the morning, in my opinion, to see that. And I think the Patriots are going to kill the Jets here on Thursday. So I'm not looking forward to that game. But I think the Patriots are scary. They're becoming scary. Now, I know Vrabel doesn't have a great track record in the playoffs, but like, these Patriots look like they're ready. Wouldn't that be amazing if that's the team that knocks out the Chiefs yet again from trying to go to the Super Bowl? It would be the Patriots in that final game. We'll see.
I mean, dude, they're genuinely scary.
Yes, and they're getting better every week.
They are scary, and their schedule is like, if I remember, is pretty cupcake, bro. You got the Jets, the Bengals, the Giants, the Bills, who now all of a sudden it's like, are the Bills in trouble?
Yeah.
The Ravens, who are on their climb up, but technically are still like a below 500 team. So we got to see if they get to full form by the time you play them. Then the Jets again, and then the Dolphins again. Like, let's just assume. Let's play devil's advocate. You lose to the Bills and the Ravens, the two teams that are like the preeminent team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 more wins. Now you could lose to anybody, division rivals, all that shit. But technically, that should be 5 layup wins.
Yeah.
On already what's their record? 8-2.
8-2. 13. They'll be 13-4 by the end of the season. Yeah.
Like they most likely are going to get the number 1 seed and get a bye.
Yep. 100%.
Bro, like, why are we already back in the Patriots era? This is stupid.
Just when it looks like Kansas City is starting to crater, here come the Patriots again. Yeah, exactly. It is crazy. And he's only a second-year quarterback. That should piss everybody off. He's only a second-year quarterback.
But I will give credit where credit is due. Al Boogie bringing it up as far as like their schedule. We do kind of have to look at who they played and who they've beat so far. Now, mind you, the Panthers are better than they're putting on, but that was a shellacking. The Bills now look kind of sus. So it is what it is. You beat the Saints, you beat the Titans, you beat the Browns, you beat the Falcons, you beat the Bucks, which the Bucks at one point looked good, but they're riddled with injuries, so they're not the same team that they were, and Baker's not playing out of his mind anymore. Right. And then your 2 losses were to the Steelers and the Raiders, one team that's not good and one team that's sus. So like it's not there. There is something to be said about the strength of their wins there.
Right.
But so Drake May, I think the main thing to look at it, even if you played these kind of middling teams, Drake May looks like he's been doing this for years.
Yep.
Like not just, hey, I played in college and high school and all that. I mean, he looks like he's been an NFL vet that's been to Pro Bowls for years. That's what's scary is that you are still, as bad as the Browns are, they are the best defense in the league, I believe.
Yeah.
And you trounced them.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Haskell says the Jets are going to F that boy up. Yeah. Bro,
I hope so.
The Jets are going to be lucky to score 10 points. I tell you right now, it's 45-10 is my prediction. I think the Patriots are going to crush the Jets. Just crush. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. So we get these questions. Winston, I know we have limited time. So let's go. Dancing Dog 60 says, since Jack Kirby kicked off the quote 4th World Series in the Patriots, Jimmy Olsen, which led to the new gods, I'm into this gods and monsters with gun. Okay.
Okay. Respect.
Yeah. Also, great show as always, gentlemen. Thank you, Dancy Dog. Appreciate that. Trump ain't gonna live forever. Just saying. Listen, we're not advocating anyone's death on this show, for God's sakes. I want to make that clear. Very sensitive time. So, okay, that's fair. And no one lives forever. So, yes, you're correct. But we will see. Simon actually says, Mr. Rocha, thank you for your service. Thank you, Simon. Have you seen a Dirty Dozen film where a black soldier who was a sniper was racially harassed by an Italian who at the end said that he was okay? I hated that film.
I have not seen that film.
I don't know.
But that sounds like a story of so many people that I know that are not considered the quote unquote status quo or the norm or whatever it is. Every black person probably got a story like that. If they didn't face it, somebody they know did. Every woman has had to been like a girl, and then like at the end being like, "You all right there, sugar?" Like something like that. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But that sounds like a rough film. I'm good on that.
I don't know what that movie is. But Simon, if you're still here, let us know in the regular chat. I'll highlight it if I've seen it or not. Cowboys fan, what's up, Cowboys? Said, to your point, John, I agree 100%. It's gotten to the level of piss taking when it comes to journalism being too clean while asking tough questions, both with politicians and celebrities. Oh yeah, I agree. Although I do want to give credit to Laura Ingraham actually pressing Trump on Fox News, which I didn't think I'd ever see in my lifetime. I thought that was impressive.
That actually was impressive. Right? That and twice now I've been shocked because if anything, I was like, so you actually know how to be a journalist? Because the other one was Tucker Carlson pushing back on Ted Cruz, after the whole bombing in like Iraq or Iran and everything else. I was like, so you remember how to do this? Why don't you do this more often?
That's the frustrating part. Like when you're watching MTG now and all these interviews, you're like, so this has been there all along. You have been a sane, rational, middle of the road person all along. You just played the MAGA thing for attention and popularity and to establish yourself. But now you're going toe to toe with Trump and you're actually saying logical stuff in your interviews. I don't trust you, but you're saying logical stuff in your interviews. You could have been, all of this stuff could have been avoided if more of these politicians had said, We're not going to fucking cater to Trump and his bullshit. We're going to stand up to him and push back on that. That would have been the way to go. But now we're seeing it, and it feels like too little, too late, bro. Too little, too late.
Yep.
It's Dog 60 says, Sydney Sweeney better be careful. She'll end up with Kevin Sorbo's career. All she had to say was the ad was just a joke. Anyway, she needs better PR rep. I don't disagree with that, Winston. I think she needs better people around her, all around, picking her projects and handling her PR. You know?
Yeah. And I think that felt like a PR answer of when there's something I want to speak on, I'll speak on it. That felt very PR rehearsed.
Yes.
And I think she was trying to listen very intently as to where that question was going. Again, delivered kind of awkwardly.
Yeah.
Which then would ultimately lead to, what she's doing. So
yeah. Victor Garrity says, hey, Washington Wizards fan here. It's hard to take Winston's NBA point seriously. You don't know pain, sir. I just don't know, Rocha. I think you might have an idea. Yeah.
Well, Victor, real quick, just before, real quick.
Yes.
I don't know Wizards history. Did you ever trade a top 3 generational player that you would be lucky to ever have on your team away from the team?
No.
So then we're not the same.
Right. I think he's saying that you've at least gotten into the finals and had some success with Dirk. We haven't had that since 1978 when Wes Unseld led us to the title over the Supersonics. So we haven't sniffed a fucking a finals even, and I think we went to the Eastern Conference Finals once with Arenas, and then the Celtics wiped us out. So yeah,
which is I can say that, like, I remember there was a big moment where I was in, like, doing network meetings to, like, lead a show. I've told this story a few times.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what was worse, having to negotiate a contract to see how my life was about to change, have to meet with these execs and shake all these hands and think, holy shit, this is it.
Yeah.
For that to not work out, or
to
just never be in that position in the first place.
Right.
Because one of them is like, damn, but the other one is like, you were there. You were literally stepping your foot in the door, and all of a sudden the whole thing is just gone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Paul Hitchcock says, Rocha, Sweeney is getting it from both sides right now, and I don't mean anything sexual, but she's in a real Eiffel Tower situation.
Jesus
and
Christ.
having to live that devil's triangle life.
Jesus Christ. I get it. That's supposed to be you. Since you like, when you originally said she's getting it from both sides, that's supposed to be you trying to say the whole thing out there. That's good. That's good.
Well done, Paul. Well done. Doug Developer says, thank you for your service, Rocha. Thank you, Doug. I want to recommend the Netflix show Boots. Yes, it's about an 8-year-old kid in basic training. Thought about you instantly when the title card 1990 flashed on the screen. That's right. That's when I started serving in 1990.
Is that when you started serving?
Oh yeah, 1990 to 98. That's when I served. But yeah, I've heard about Boots. I think the kid is gay, and so it's about what it's like to be training in the military at that time and be gay. So yeah, I'm curious to watch the show. I have so many things I'm watching right now. I can't put that on the. I mean, Pluribus right now is consuming me. So, but I have to definitely watch Boots at some point for sure. Victor Garrity said, I know you guys don't talk a lot of college ball, but how wild was it that Wake Forest beat Virginia this last weekend? Yes. Shout out to Mark Ellis, graduate of Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons. Totally derailed Virginia's season with that victory. Fascinating, because Virginia was set to be in the ACC championship game. They might still make it, but they were set to be there and then possibly get into the college football playoff. But now, not so much. Doug Developer also says, prediction, Eagles or Rams will represent the NFC. Only NFC quarterbacks I fully trust are Jalen Hurts and Stafford. Maybe Baker, but his team is too hurt.
I don't, but see, that's the thing. I will give Jalen credit. I've always said this he somehow figures out a way to win.
He does. He's a winner.
But it genuinely makes me nervous to just see these subpar performances that backpedal into victory. Like, that's what I'm saying. What do you do when you then have a Stafford who can actually just ball out? You know what I'm saying? That is that kind of stuff that makes me go, what? But at a certain point, I almost think it's not like, I still give Jalen credit, but as much shit as we give Sirianni must just have some in the water, bro. I don't know. Like, as a coach, he keeps figuring out ways to make this happen.
Jalen is an unusual guy because he's got an unusual personality. He never gets too high. He never gets too low. So you don't know quite how to. It's very reminiscent of Donovan McNabb. You never sensed that McNabb was ever in trouble or was ever succeeding. It's just it's such the same thing. So it's interesting.
And also, El Boogie in here be like, Stafford 0-4 against Jay in the last 4 games. I was like, okay, well, do we want to look back at those last 2 games that literally went on a Hail Mary of a field goal block, like touchdown return, or the fact that the almost got your ass whooped in the snow, which LA has no business doing all that. And I don't even remember what the play was, but it was something like minor that like changed the course of everything. You're acting like the Rams didn't take it to the Eagles both times, and you lucked out of that.
Yeah, it was a throw to the tight end in the snow, I think, that he dropped. Yeah. But I think you're discounting the Packers, Doug. I think the Packers have a real shot to represent the NFC as well. Doug, there was a prediction: Patriots won't make the Super Bowl. May is a playoff virgin. They rarely make the Super Bowl. Burrow and Cap being exceptions since 2001. Sure, but he's a second-year player, and guess what? Second-year player took the Patriots to the Super Bowl, and that was Tom Brady. So it's a very possible.
It's gonna be interesting because there's a lot of legacy stuff on the line here. So they look like the most dangerous team in the AFC, but if the Bills figure it out, if the Ravens figure it out, if the Chiefs stay the course here, they jokingly call the AFC Championship the Arrowhead Invitational for a reason. And you throw in the fact that like there are so many question marks about Josh and Lamar for being this good and not being able to get it done. So it's not to say that the Patriots can't go on a tear here, but like once you get into playoff territory and the edge is on, they might be starting to play lights out because they are like, I am not going to let my legacy be tarnished by some nonsense. You know what I mean?
It's true. We'll see. Doug Developer also says Stafford is at 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions with 2,400 passing yards. Won't be surprised if he's awarded MVP as part of his swan song, like when Newman won the Oscar.
It has to be Jonathan Taylor. I'm sorry. Like I don't even think it's close with any, like I was saying this last year about Saquon, but here's the difference. There would be a few games where Jalen would go and make AJ Brown look like the superstar that he is and make Devontae look the superstar that he is. Daniel Jones has literally proven that if you take Jonathan Taylor out of the game, he can't get it done. He is the most valuable player by a mile.
I don't disagree with you. That team doesn't win without Daniel Jones, right?
Or without
Jonathan Taylor. Sorry. I too like him. Bills, Packers, Jags, Bears, Steelers equals fake demons. Certainly Steelers, certainly Bears, Jags, yes. Packers, I don't think so. I think the Packers are for real. They just they took the defending champions all the way to the last field goal. So I think,
but I got so many questions about Jordan Love, man. I have more questions about Jordan Love than I do Jalen Hurts.
Well, sure. But Jalen has shown he can win the Super Bowl. I think with Jordan, we got to see. I don't have questions with Jordan. It's the team that I have issues with. And so we'll see on the offensive side of things, because I don't think those receivers are that strong. And I don't think that running back is that strong. And so that's my concern with the Packers. But I think Jordan's a good quarterback. Chris A says, thoughts on the Dems caving for a handshake deal? Yeah, I already tweeted about it. It's craven as fuck, and I hate it. And Fetterman, go fuck himself. Like these 8 Democrats that have signed this thing for the promise that they're going to look at it. Like, it's just so ridiculous.
In what world do you look at that and go, you know what? They're good people. We could just go out of a handshake. They'll come back to this.
Oh, totally. They're people of their word. Yeah.
Because the other side of this too is this weird deal of like, yes, people are genuinely suffering, but you just made them suffer like that so that they can suffer worse in the long run. It's just so dumb. Temporary solution. And especially when you've got them on the ropes after the elections last week. Why the hell would you cave in when you've got him on the ropes? It's crazy. I'm Too Black M's favorite YB song for you. Alien Earth Renewed. I am Too Fly Cam, the only person on that island. Everyone's excited for Alien Earth coming back for a second season. What's YB? I don't know what that means. Favorite YB song? I don't know. Young Boys, Young Blood? I don't know. Not NBA Young Boy, is it?
I don't know. Clarify that. We might not be, or I might not be as cool as you. So clarify that. Daniel Son, what's with your Redskins? I'm being asked this year. JD5 needs some creatine stat. Well, the whole team is just. We lost a bunch of players for season-ending injuries, and McLaurin hasn't been able to play. So what do you want us to do? We have no players to try to win games. So It's a shame. And I also think Dan Quinn, there's questions to be asked here at the end of the season.
Fair.
Karen, what's up, Karen? Says, what are your thoughts that the president wants the new Commander Stadium to be named after him? I say no freaking way.
You saw somebody put out a TikTok, right? About this, and they go,
no. What was the TikTok? Was it?
It specifically said, well, I don't know if he actually wants that because there's only been two presidents or like two politicians that have ever had stadiums named after them, and that is JFK and RFK. And what had to happen for them to have stadium? Is that what you actually want? Like, no, like I don't know, Mo.
I don't. Yeah. I hate it. I think it's horrific because it should have nothing to do with politics. And this naming him now would be about politics.
I said NBA young boy, get out of here.
I just said RFK and JFK were assassinated, right? Trump was not assassinated, and I think it would be stupid to name the stadium after him, and more ego and hubris. And you know, it's terrible. But by the time the stadium is built, he'd be out of office, hopefully. And so would you have to adhere to that naming? I don't know. It depends. All right. Let's see the super chats here. Streamlabs. Fred says, hey, Tequila Spillers, showing my support. Quick question. Has the NFL entered a new way to develop washed out Aqaba with the success of Sam Darnold and the emergence of Daniel Jones and the other Jones kid? Also, Predator Badlands was awesome. What's AQAB? What is Aqaba? I don't know what that means.
AQAB.
AQABA. I don't know what that means. So
read the beginning again.
As the NFL entered a new way to develop washed out, maybe he's just saying washed out quarterbacks with the success of Sam Darnold and the emergence of Daniel Jones and the other Jones kid. Yeah, Mac Jones. So has the NFL entered a new way? No, I just think these players have gone to teams that can coach them up better than the teams they were at. Daboll is not that good of a coach, and that's why he was fired. He was running Jackson Dart into the ground, basically doing the Tom Thibodeau of the NFL. And Daniel Jones was suffering from that situation. Now he's in a better situation with a better coordinator, better coach, and he's doing better. Same thing with Mac Jones over there in San Francisco. And I think Sam Darnold balled out in Minnesota. So he's balling out now in Seattle. And because the Jets are a fucking dumpster fire. You don't want to learn how to be a quarterback under that organization. That's what I think. Winston?
I think it's more just you're seeing there's a reason these guys were drafted, why they were drafted so high. It's just there are a lot of teams actually have a good way of ruining confidence and building in bad habits. Like Sam had to get as far away from, the Jets as possible, had to go kind of through the Carolina and all that kind of stuff. You essentially need somebody that is bulletproof to bad environments, and that's when you end up with the Cam Newton when still goes down to Carolina, but because Cam is such a beast, he can kind of power through how bad of a organization they were. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You've yet to see a quarterback of that caliber end up in Cleveland. So anybody with even some monochrome of talent is ending up being trash or leaving and then going to be good.
Yeah, agreed. Fred said, Fred Tassico says, happy Veterans Day, Rocha. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Fred. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you every week, brother, man. Even when we don't agree. Samo says, thoughts on UFC President Dana White saying that he's not political and that protesting is the dumbest waste of time, yet the UFC is hosting an event in the White House. Yeah, well, Dana's an asshole. He's always been an asshole. He likes to poke and prod people and he likes to smack around his wife. So, fuck him. And he's lying through his teeth. And he's just doing this to get a reaction out of people because people like him get a spider monkey jacking himself off kind of a joy out of doing that kind of shit. So that's my response.
I don't really speak on it because I don't know enough about Dana White or even what he said. I just saw people where it was trending. I just want to say to Haskell, I didn't say Jets fans, but yes, the Jets ruined them because you just said we had shitty coaches, no weapons to help him, and no O-line. You know who did all that? Your organization. So not you as a Jets fan who is a diehard. You had nothing to do with that. But your organization, whether it be the coaches coaching him badly, the GM's not getting him protection, the GM's not getting him weapons, y'all almost ruined it.
Yeah. I mean, come on. I'm Two Fly Cam. Last one says Winston was saying Dak was playing at an MVP level. Laughable. He then gets CD back and stinks up the joint. Dak is a jag. Just another guy. Meanwhile, Seahawks looking to lock up the NFC West. Shout out to Pistons being number 1 seed in the East, too.
No, I said the same thing that I said previously, in the same way we were talking about Baker Mayfield and all that. At a certain point, unless you have truly unlocked like One Punch Man Goku level God status ass, I play like this all the time.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers have injuries galore that eventually caught up with them. The Cowboys have no defense.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, if a game is going to come along that Dak could not put up 30 points, and then what happens? And so like that's, I don't know. I think that the MVP talk is over for both of them, unless they go on a tear to finish the season. But they were playing at MVP levels. You just had things holding you back. Daniel Jones was playing at an MVP level until people realized, no, it's Jonathan Taylor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is.
It's true. It is what it is. All right. Well, there you go. That's all the questions. I know we're a little bit over. Sorry, Winston. Let's wrap it up. Please let people know where they can find you and watch all the stuff you got going on here on the internets.
You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred here on YouTube and on all platforms. I had to take our dog to an emergency vet visit on Monday, so we didn't do the Blurred breakdown. So I will be doing it Thursday because we have Blurs in the Hood tomorrow. Otherwise, I would do it tomorrow. Nice. Thursday, I'm directing another commercial, which is dope. So it might be a little bit of a later show, but I will be here on Thursday evening, and then Capes and Cows on Friday. Demon Slayer stuff is back. We watched Mugen Train. Oh my God, you don't want to miss my reaction, bro. I had a full-on meltdown, so it's good stuff. So check all that out.
There you go. Please follow Winston and follow and subscribe to his channel as well. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on all social media. Subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that bell button. Leave your comments on all the things we talked about, the NFL, the NBA, the movie stuff, Sydney Sweeney, all of the things. DC, let us know what you thought about all of it. And remember, the John Rocha channel is its own podcast as well. So we'd love it if you guys would subscribe to the podcast. All the episodes, except for the Hot Mic and Geek Buddies, they all live there on the podcast stream. So please subscribe there so we get more people there and get more ads on the show, which would be great. So thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Happy Veterans Day to everybody. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of Spill the Tequila. Peace.